Welcome to today's lesson. Your goals for today are going to be to import the remaining photos into your medibang paint workspace and then to arrange them, resize them, rotate them, play with layer blending modes, and submit a screenshot of your work from today. This is an image of what we would like your work from today to look like once you are complete. So the first thing that we need to do is find your medibang paint canvas from yesterday. On the left-hand side of your medibang paint workspace, you will see My Gallery, and then you will make sure that the internal icon is highlighted. This is where you will find your previously saved artworks. Once you click on your work, scale it down, and the first thing we're going to do is clean up the remaining layers that we had from yesterday, so that way all of your background photographs can be on one layer so it gets less confusing. Select your top background layer picture and then select the three-dot icon under the layers box. From here you will see it says merge down. Click merge down and this will combine your layer with the layer underneath it. Do this again depending on how many background pictures you have, so that way they all form one layer. Our next step is to start adding in your family photos. So to do this, you are going to click the plus sign, you're going to select image to add, and you're going to find one of the photographs you'd like to bring in to your workspace. From here, you can move or scale it just as a preliminary, decision to make. Don't extract the line art. And then you're going to repeat this process for multiple pictures. I like to put all of my pictures on my workspace first, and then I go back and I use the transform tool in order to reposition them, resize them, and rotate them. Every time I bring a picture in, I make sure I don't extract the line art because I don't want to make my picture a black and white and transparent picture. So here I am just bringing in some more photographs and just kind of arbitrarily, randomly placing them where I think they should go for now. All of these decisions can change later on. Okay, now it's time to use your transform tool. Remember, the transform tool is on the top menu bar and we use it to move, scale, and rotate your photos. During this process, remember, it's okay to have some of your photos overlap each other because we can use the soft eraser brush tool and remove away edges later on and use layer blending modes to make your pictures transparent. So in the transform tool, you can select to make a picture bigger, smaller, rotate it, scale it up or down by dragging out the corners, and you can reposition your photograph where you'd like it to go. The important thing here is that you understand you have to highlight the layer first that you want to change. So if I want to change this picture, I needed to have highlighted that layer, made sure it was blue, just tap the layer with your finger, and then you will be able to activate that layer to transform it. So notice I'm kind of jumping around layer to layer and moving and repositioning things where I want it to go. Notice also that my pictures do overlap each other. It's okay for them to be big enough that they interlock with each other. This will give me something to erase away into later on. So you can see how I'm just moving and changing and repositioning things. Once you have all of your photos where you want them to be, you are going to start playing with transparency, with layer blending modes, and the opacity slider. Select the picture that you want to change the transparency of, and then you will notice that there is the icon that says normal underneath the opacity slider in the layers menu bar. From here, you can select a number of different options to decide how you want your picture to be transparent and how you want it to interact with the layers underneath it. So this photo of my grandparents, I used the layer blending mode overlay, and then I scaled it up so that way it would interact with the photographs underneath it better. And I can see the sheet music and I can see those textures, which I really like. So at this point, we want to start using the soft eraser brush. This is going to allow us to erase into a photograph around its edges, so that way you can reveal parts of the other photographs that might be underneath it. So I'm doing this here in this photograph, just lightly stamping away the edge, so that way the other photo is blended with it better and I can see both photos a little bit. So this allows me to kind of reveal some more of each photograph. So what you'll see me start to do is I will be clicking on a layer. I will be erasing into that layer's edges to let it interact with the background photographs or the photos around it, and then I'll move on to the next photo. In order to erase a photo's edges, remember you need to have that layer highlighted. That's the layer that you want to work on. If you don't highlight the layer, you won't be able to erase from it. Also, if you need to backtrack, you can click the undo button and it will allow you to take several steps backwards. Now it's time to go through your image and make your finishing touches. Make some final decisions. Are there other photographs that you want to use a layer blending mode for? Is there anything that you want to enlarge or take up more space? And how can you let your photographs create a sense of balance and unity in your overall composition? I also want to touch upon using the opacity slider. If a layer blending mode is too harsh, you can select a picture and you can still make it see-through just by moving the transparency or opacity slider down a little bit. So what I'm doing here with this photograph is I'm just going into that opacity slider and I'm knocking the opacity down into the 80s. If I drop it down too much, then obviously it's going to be very see-through. But if I bring it down just a little bit, I'll be able to see a little bit of that newspaper texture behind it, and it doesn't make it as solid looking as the two pictures that are next to it. So it's a good idea to have a balance of some pictures being transparent and some pictures being solid, and not allowing all of the transparent pictures to be right next to each other. In doing that, this compositionally gives us a little bit of balance, right? It lets us have this look like everything has its own place and we can clearly see everything. Last thing you need to do today is screenshot your progress. So this is where you should be leaving off for today. Just take a quick screenshot. I want to be able to see all of your layers, the whole setup of your screen, and that is what you're submitting. You do not need to go any further. Make sure you have saved your work from today, and I hope you are saving frequently.